Hi everyone, thanks for having us today for quite a specific session in our world of venture capital, conscious investments. And very happy to do this with Ruchika from Wisdom Venture. What we're going to do is I'm going to give you a quick intro about what we do at Felix and how we think about conscious investments, and then pass it on to Ruchika and explain also our link today in this context. So we are Felix Capital. My name is Antoine Essenbaum. I'm one of the founder and investor at Felix Capital. We consciously don't give each other titles, so we don't have any partners title. We all investors. We launched 9 years ago with the purpose of building a brand in venture capital, an industry that we felt was quite unbranded, and with the purpose of investing at the intersection of creativity and technology and empowering new, positive digital lifestyle. So we originally backed companies that you might know, like Farfetch, transforming fashion, Peloton around fitness, Deliveroo around food, Oatly around the dairy industry, and many more. A couple in Spain also, like Travel Perk, going after the corporate travel industry, or Ukyo on the home rental side of things. But we started throughout our journey of now, we are 9 years into it. It will be 10 years in a few months. We now have 4 vintage of funds, 1.2 billion under management, investing both early and growth. And as we've been building our platform, as we were building a business, we started thinking about how we would express our conscious positioning. And so in this context, we first started our foundation, Felix for Good, which is redistributing some of our carry into positive purpose-related projects. And we also recently announced that we were becoming B Corp with a great score of 100, which is not easy to get. And lately, we started an angel member club called Sunrise, which is representing us and our trusted friends, entrepreneurs, advisors, for the purpose to be able to support younger entrepreneurs in our world, both on the VC side or purely just entrepreneurs launching businesses. And it's in this context that we were lucky enough to meet Ruchika and the Wisdom Venture team. And we're very pleased to announce today that actually Wisdom Venture is our first investment with our Sunrise Club. So I will now pass on to Ruchika to explain what's the purpose behind Wisdom Venture and what's the genesis and the partnership here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Antoine, and congratulations on creating Felix Capital and now a spin-off, Sunrise, to do good in the world. We're so lucky to have you as our limited partner. Really, we're looking for creating a community of people who really truly believe that the capital needs to be consciously invested to care for humanity, where we all can flourish and thrive. And that was the genesis of Wisdom Ventures. We came about just about an year ago to form this venture team and a platform, our first fund, which basically enables mindfulness, human connection, and well-being into the world. That's basically our thesis. And we came about to this when we saw so much struggle that people are facing post-COVID around mental health challenges, and also connecting with each other. Our Surgeon General in the United States has been sharing a lot of data-driven reports stating how badly youth's mental health is affected right now. The workplace stress is increasing day by day, and just very recently also publishing a report on loneliness and isolation. We all have like thousands of friends online, but when it comes to having the real connection and a vulnerable moment with each other, that has really gone missing. And when the movie came out, Social Dilemma, I don't know if some of you watched it here, we saw the technology can do amazing things in the world, and all of us are here to advance that. But there is also perils and some downside that disrupt our lives every day. Particularly social media has been just kind of designed in order to grasp our attention in ways where we cannot disconnect, and there's this whole concept of doom scrolling for teenagers and young adults, and they can't, even like us, can't get our heads out of our phone. So we started looking for who are the people who are innovating and creating in this space that allows for that presence and attention and focus to be owned by humans rather than technology. And that's where Wisdom Ventures came about, and 6 of us. We're a pretty unique team. We're a combination of corporate, tech executives, including myself. I was at Google for 15 years, and one of our partner is a VP at Google and also the creator of an incubator within Google. And with meditation teachers, creators of conferences like Wisdom 2.0, which brings technology and spiritual leaders together to create a conversation on what role does technology play in having humans thrive on this planet, and a few other partners who've come together to form this fund. And
so, Ruchika, this is fascinating and very unique and differentiated in this industry. If you narrow down a bit and you started talking about it, but we, for our slightly more generalist lenses, started investing in companies like Unmind around mental health, Pepi around fertility, and some around sustainability like Effie around home energy and a few more. How do you guys structure your themes when you think, especially collectively being a partnership of 6 people and very similar purpose, but very different backgrounds? So how do you guys structure the key themes you're going after, the key trends right now that you are focusing your mind on?
Yeah, it's such a good question. When we came together to build our thesis, we had a conversation like, should we be focusing on climate tech companies and ESG companies? We ended up realizing that if our inner climate is not good, we cannot present our best self to the world, to people we work with, and to our planet. So we narrowed down our focus to enable and also support people's inner development, and which basically came out to be like supporting mental health as one of the focus areas, amongst many others. There are 1 billion people who are struggling with mental health issues as per WHO right now, and 70% people who are in high crisis zone do not get help. So we started with that thesis, Antoine, and invested in many mental health companies that are advancing support and scaling availability of resources to people. We've also invested in companies that are caring for workplace well-being, on having people avoid burnout or recover from it, and stress also. We've also started inching towards ethical and value-driven AI companies. We've recently made investment in OpenAI, as well as Hume.ai, our first foray into this, and mainly that was sprung from this intention of working with aligned founders, people who are aware that the technology that is coming up and disrupting the world right now can do many good things, but it also holds a lot of scary stuff. So we want to really align ourselves with value-driven founders and companies that believe the technology is going to do good in the world, but it can also create some harm, and are aware of it and working on those measures proactively.
And I mean, OpenAI is definitely the big topic right now, and I just want to dive, not challenge you per se, but dive a bit more into it. Was it a contrarian investment internally, or was it you were the 6 of you very much aligned? And how exactly the decision making happening for, OpenAI is now the front leader into this kind of new AI era that we starting. I mean, one of the front leader, but why this one versus another one, especially this quite a well-established company in its own way. So tell us a bit more about this investment specifically.
Absolutely. What we've realized, just to take a step back, that the reason founders want us on their cap table, we write very small checks, 100 to 500K, average 250K. The reason founders want us on their cap table is mainly because of the value-driven and principle-driven VC firm that we have established and created a brand for. And we were invited into the round with OpenAI, and we had a really good, strong conversation and shared notes about it. And we felt like there are two things that we need to do. One is to create avenues and opportunities for people to care for their health and well-being, and also get involved in efforts and innovation that is going to impact the health and well-being and our existence on this planet, in the future. So that was the real idea, where we felt like it's not so much about, is AI good, AI bad? Like if I asked people to raise their hand, if you're excited about AI, how many people would say, yes, I'm excited about AI? And if you put your hands down, and if I say, how many people are scared of what AI can do? And equal amount of hands go up. So I think it's our responsibility. I was reading a quote on Instagram yesterday which said, it's not AI we're scared about. It's basically us humans, what we do with AI. So I think just taking that conscious responsibility as investors, as creators of this technology is crucial right now. And that was our intention of going into this round with openness.
And that resonates a lot also with the way we invest at Felix, where the starting point is to look at the end user, people, consumers outside of work, employees at work, and see what are this new behavior, this new cultural change that are shaping these new behaviors and making very big shift. And definitely OpenAI, if you take a step back, is an illustration where you have an agent of change putting out there, lobbying, traveling right now in every country, speaking to every politician to try to explain, to mitigate these fears and try to set up a sustainable format for this globally. Do you believe that it would be OpenAI, or do you think we're going to have a kind of winner in different geography? Or so? I mean, how do you think the kind of governance regulation aspect can impact the way AI is scaling right now at the global level?
Yeah, it's hard to predict, but we got to do the work right now, Antoine, right?
Yes.
Like I feel this is another reason we were just very much in line with Sam Altman, who is doing that. He's going around the world talking to people, government in the countries, going to Congress in the US, and really raising a concern around bringing regulation and governance into AI from the get-go. And I would personally like to see that happen with all the leaders of Google, Meta, and big companies, and also the government leaders around the world as well. So I think we are in this waiting period and an action period at the same time. It's kind of a little bit of a paradox, but I don't think anyone else will do it. We each need to play a role in it and advance this work that is going to be part of our life, is already part of our life, but also at the same time put measures together on making sure that it serves humanity versus the other way around.
And on this point, and I would say as a European myself, and a fond focus on Europe, not only, but at least with a big foot into Europe, it's a real honor to have you make the trip to come and see us and speak at this conference, representing a bit of California and the Silicon Valley here. Do you have a specific, what is the lens from your end around what's happening around the European ecosystem? And also, how do you connect maybe this lens with, or not, with the way you think at Wisdom Ventures?
Yeah, the reason I come for South Summit is because I do get that amazing view of what is happening in Europe. We can be in a very big bubble in Silicon Valley, and for me, it's really important that I have a viewpoint of what's happening around the world. And South Summit, I think, is such a melting pot for everybody in Europe to come together over here and explore what does it look like. And the sessions I've been in part of, including a leaders forum last night, I feel there is a lot of opportunity that is being created by governments here, and probably a lot more obstacles that need to be removed from the way in creating an innovation ecosystem around here. I'm just impressed. There are 10,000 to 15,000 people who come to South Summit every year. I've been having like one-on-one meetings with people and meeting with a lot of VCs, and just the orientation of advancing technology, not just as a hub like from Silicon Valley or Boston or other places in the world, but really decentralizing it is very fascinating to see. And I think the time has come, where innovation or work doesn't need to like happen at one central place. It belongs to all of us globally, and we should have the contributions, coming from all around the world. In terms of Wisdom Ventures, we are a global fund. We take investments from global investors, and we are also investing in global companies. We have an investment in Latin America, one in Asia, and also one in Europe, and out of our 15 company portfolio. So when I go to the countries, I'm eager to meet with the founders and investors who want to collaborate globally and work with us on those intentions as well, just like you, Antoine, with Sunrise. Yeah.
We don't think about geographies per se. We think about themes and trends and behaviors, and we try our best to go and find the best team wherever they are in the world. Though it's always easier to work with a team which is a bit closer than being too remote. But we don't invest also right now, at least with the same type of quantum and purpose in the cap table. And so speaking of which, actually, so it's the genesis, it's the early days of Wisdom Venture, and it's fantastic. I mean, when you think about the industry 10, 20 years ago, where we had only generous fund, only brands with quite a lot of testosterone in it, and no specific, that doesn't stand much for anything specific. Having now, 10, 20 years later, such specific funds with such great purposes, it really proves that our industry on the VC side is evolving in the right direction in order to create relevancy for the entrepreneurs and ultimately for the end users and the people that will benefit from this, from the innovation. And so I'm just thinking, Ruchika, putting you in the shoes of the entrepreneur you are in venture capital right now, when you sit with your partners, and right now you're gonna put small checks in great purpose-led company around wisdom and conscious investments, but when you guys sit and think 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, what are you thinking about Wisdom Venture? What is the vision, the medium to long-term vision? I'm asking this because we do change ourselves also like this at Felix, thinking a bit always 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. Yeah. How is the thinking on your side? A lot of tricky question today.
We are a fairly new fund, and we're continuing to evolve our thesis based on what we're learning and how fast things are moving around us, especially the disrupting technologies like AI has come into being. I think we definitely are building our 5 or 10-year plan, but we stay grounded in this aspect and reflection mostly, which is, if I were to invest in a technology or develop a technology, is that technology something that I want my children to use? Do I want my family members to integrate that in their life? Is that advancing their quality of life? Is that helping them thrive compared to disrupting their life and distracting them from living their full potential? So I think that is like a very big, strong foundation I wanted to mention that will continue throughout our thesis of making investments in companies and supporting the founders and entrepreneurs all along the way. But looking at themes, personally, I would speak for myself and also observing in this conference over here, health technology, well-being technology is going to rapidly increase, as well as artificial intelligence is going to become part of our life, from our mundane day jobs to getting support and integrating that into health and well-being as well. So that's where we are, trying to kind of figure out what's the role of Wisdom Ventures and exactly call out how we may support that innovation going forward. But if I could dream of a future in 5 to 10 years, that would be, we're more present with ourselves and not on an autopilot with technology that is coming, in our faces every day. And we're more connected with each other as human beings as compared to, staying face down in our phones all of the time. And we have more well-being, and we have a thriving planet around us. So I think those are some of the goals that I would bet like most of us feel united about, in this space.
It's somehow ironic, using technology to bring back communities together, and in some specific context, a bit less connected. That's a big challenge in front of us.
Yeah.
And do you consider also getting more influence down the line in the companies you would back in terms of, as the fund grow and the platform evolve? Is the purpose still to be a purpose-based partner along the side lead investors, or is there a journey where you could, for very specific topic, position yourself as a lead partner on some situation?
Very much so, yeah. As I mentioned, we are first-time fund. We've almost closed our fund and made 15 investments in very super aligned founders and companies that were true to our mission and vision. And so we're carefully crafting our portfolio for the first time by co-investing, where there is a lead investor already present or there's a cap table established. And that's primarily to actually set us up for our Fund 2, which we hopefully plan to work on and start raising next year. And that's where we really want to get into the early stage, very pre-stage companies as well. We have received interest from 900 people who are interested in receiving funding from us, just because they feel mission aligned. Some of them are at the ideation stage, some of them have a prototype, some of them have a product out in the market. We've met with 150 founders, and of those we have chosen 15. And it's hard to turn away some great talent, and we're hoping when we raise our next round, which is $50 to $100 million, we can support that early stage, incubation, acceleration of projects like other more established VCs do as well. So that's our hope and dream.
And we feel blessed to be on board in this journey with our new Sunrise vehicle, which is coming on top of Felix for Good and our B Corp structure. So, it means really a lot. And I think if I had a wish is to go even deeper and to start being able to invest alongside together in the future, wherever in the world, but to foster community and wisdom and conscious investment. Thanks a lot, Ruchika. It was great to have you, and thanks for coming here in Spain.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me here. It's great to meet you all.